So you became a successful applicant. Congratulations in your application at Columbia University in New York in US. So Columbia is one of the 6th best universities in the world. So according to US News Global University Ranking. So for future students who want to be a successful applicant like you, what key steps you can point out and how they should start and where?
I mean, it's all connected to what you want to do next. Maybe the first thing is, and this is what is not really easy at some time, to just know what you want to do. Mm-hmm. For me, it was clear that I want to do a PhD after. Mm-hmm. So even when I joined the program, I knew that this program is a step through where I'm going. And even in my motivation letter, actually, I said that I will do a PhD later. So while doing this program, I could already identify some of my interests, what is spiking me and what I would like the most about the program. And this would define how I want to approach this second step of looking for a PhD program. And well, it was interesting. I know we have so many PhD opportunities in Europe and everywhere, but for me, it was clear that I wanted to combine different experiences. So I wanted to do my PhD in the US, and this is for personal reasons. So for future students that are interested to do their PhD in the US, well, it's quite more demanding in the US than here, because most of the time for PhD in Europe, you apply for a project that is already clear. They are looking for someone. It's like job application. You apply and it's quite easy. But on the other hand, in the US, most of the time you apply for a program. So it's a PhD program where you have to fit in the program. You have to have a solid background, and you don't need to know exactly what you want to do, have a project in mind, but you want to know the direction and the kind of research you want to do, because the key thing about applying for PhD is to identify a mentor, an advisor that is willing to accept you in their group so that you can do your PhD with them. And this person is the one that you'll reach out to them through emails. They call them cold email, where you just send an email to a random person and you read their papers, you see they're interesting and everything, and you contact them asking about possibilities of working with them. Most of people fail at this stage because, well, you send hundreds of emails to people that don't know you. They are busy. These professors are busy. They have so much to do. And most of the time they won't reply you. So, I mean, maybe one of the key things to learn is how to shape your email and what to send in the email, so that you can make sure that if they read the email, they will be just willing to let you know if they're fine to meet you. And at this stage, the email is simple, is quite introducing yourself very briefly, not a big email, because I said again, they are busy. If it's big, they won't read everything. They will just skip it. But if it's small, simple, and very concise, they will read it. So just introduce yourself, speak about your interests. If you are doing something related to what they are doing, speak about it, and ask about if they are willing to take as PhD student for next year, because in the US, you start the application process 1 year before when you want to start.
Here, I just want to specify, when you say short email, like not long, how much sentence you mean? Because some people want to know this.
Sure. I mean,
or sections.
Yeah, most of the time my emails have maybe 2 or 3 sections. And the first one is just, the first one is the salutation, and this should be really correct. You have to put their name there, their full name, or at least their last name. You cannot say hi and they don't know you, and you don't know how they react to these things. So you read them orally, dear professor, and you put their last name or their full name, and there is salutation stuff. And then second thing is to introduce yourself. This is one of the sessions, and my example will be just, I am Patrick Chiton Amulisa from the Congo and currently doing this master's program, and which is a joint program between this university, and this university. And I am working on these projects I'll put one or two sentences describing the project I'm doing. And somehow this is to connect, because the project I'm doing is somehow something they understand because it's related to what they are doing. And this is how I connect. The second thing would be, well, I've been seeing your papers or your work on this and this and this. I am really interested, since this match my interest on this and this and this.
Here, precisely, because when you read their papers and also when you want to get in touch and give the feeling that you are interested in their research, I think it's quite hard to summarize, like, how much sentence you usually put in there.
Most of the time it's only 2 sentences. As again I said, it should be very small. The thing is, you don't want to tell them their paper, they know them. So you want to say keywords. Let's say I'm interested in carbon cycle in peatlands. It's not the same with soil carbon of peatland is not the same as global carbon cycle, or it's not the same in agroecosystems. And so if they are working on peatland and carbon cycle, you want to say, your work on carbon cycles in peatlands is really interesting to me, and this is what I want to do. So I wanted to know if you are looking for MIT's PhD student. It's also help if you have some connections together. Let's say you discuss with their student before and they're like, yeah, you should reach out to them. You can mention them. I was discussing with this person, or I discussed with some people and they recommended to reach out to you. And so it's always all right. And yeah, well, if the email is good, most of the time they are also looking for students to run their projects, so they will reach back. And but the big things about this is not only the email; it's the CV you attach. You always has to attach your CV.
That was my next question. Yes, could you describe what you should put in, what you shouldn't be putting in your CV, and how precise to be?
So most of the time, the first thing to do is always avoid long stuff. If you are at a career stage where you are looking for a PhD right after your bachelor or master's, most of the time you don't have that much experience. You don't have so much to add. So don't complicate your CV. Have it simple, 2-pager maximum. Most of people don't read after 2 pages. So what I put is just always starts with education. So the first thing is I'll put education, and here I'll put my master program. And one of the things you have to know is that programs may have the same name, but not have the same contents. Let's say I have a bachelor in environmental science. This doesn't tell anything about what is the content of the program, because some places environmental science would be related to atmospheric science and what is going on. Some other places more climate change, some other places forestry, and some bit of soil science. So it's always interesting if you can attach something, selected coursework. And this is something that it should be applied to the person and the program you want to do. And here you can just name few courses, maybe 3, 4, 5 that are somehow related to the work he's doing, to show that you already have this background in these things. And obviously they will have time to to see your transcripts if you advance in further steps. But at this stage, they just want to see if you can do the work, and this can inform this. After education, always puts your research and work experience. If you have so much research experience and they are not current research experience, let's say what should be, if you put chronologically, you'll have 2 work experience and 1 research experience that is far behind. Most of the time they will read the 2 work experience that are not research experience, and they will skip. So here the skill is to separate research experience and work experience, so that you can put, even if your research experience was 3 years ago, you can put your research experience. If you are doing a program like ours, you have a master thesis that you can put also as a research experience. And this is something clear that connects the person to the kind of skills you are bringing, because there is a big question is what you are bringing to the table. And what you are bringing to the table is the experiences you bring in the lab, for be it practical skills, modeling, or field work, or how you manage stuff. And when they see the projects you've been involved in, they may be interested to discuss with you more. And after this, you can always put other stuff, work experience, maybe selected courses you got, extra academic activities, scholarships you've received, the kind of skills you have, computer skills you may have, and those things, but always have it simple. 2 pages are enough. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. So here again, if let's say I have many interests or hobbies, should I also put them in my CV?
Well, it's brings something to have some hobbies. This says that all your life is not about just doing school on science. And this is great. It's put some balance to your life. But sometimes this is a secondary information, is not the priority for now. Because for now, what you are looking for is to have someone that can see is that you resemble to the kind of student that joined their lab, or at least you bring some of the skills they have when they come. And at this stage, you don't want to complicate yourself, but